news that is like us, not so interesting, and then someone writes a blog post. In Sweden we had election last year, and 7 days before the election date, a girl wrote a blog post about her mother, how the medical system didn't treat her well. They treated her like shit, to be honest. And she had she was really, really ill, and she didn't get they more or less forced her back to work, and she couldn't work. She was in such a pain. So she wrote a blog post about it, and that was retweeted by a lot of people. And in 12 hours, there were 250 views on her blog post, and in 16 hours, she was sitting in a sofa in one of the biggest news shows in Sweden talking about it. And after 24 hours, the Prime Minister commented on it on a press conference. And she was like, I'm sorry to say that she was nobody before that. And suddenly she became like a major news outlet. And this is quite interesting because this means like we can all make a change. And today information is free for anyone to create. I mean, you've seen it. I mean, anyone knows this better than probably most of us lazy, spoiled, and used to get all the sort of information we want. And what we see is the most common way to spread this information is by using Facebook groups, like our group, or any other group. I'm going to give you a couple of good examples, and you've probably seen them all before. And tweets, of course. I mean, using Twitter is spreading like a wildfire, and especially in your area and in other areas where information from the government could be a little bit, discussed whether it's propaganda or actual news.
Sorry, I don't know the meaning of tweet.
Twitter.
Twitter. Oh.
Yeah, Twitter messages. Sorry, I'm a nerd. I'm a geek. And blogs, and also you have those local networks. It could be like a group on Flickr, the photo sharing site, or it could be a circle of blogs that share information, or it could be like an old-fashioned thing, like there is a thing called Internet Relay Chat. It's like a text chat. That was probably one of the first internet things that got really big. People can chat from different channels, and those are still. Have you heard about Anonymous?
Yeah.
It's a hacker group taking down governments, and they did a big run on American MasterCard and Visa.
They've done something in Tunisia as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yesterday they hit, there was a law firm in the US that tried to identify Anonymous, and yesterday they were taken down by them. and they changed their front page to, if you come after us, we'll hit you so hard you never forget it. And they're like teenagers from Holland, I think. They arrested one of them, and they're like 14, we're going to take on the world. And they've done some fantastic movies. If you go to YouTube and you search for Anonymous, they have like 2 days ago, they broadcasted a message to the people in Egypt, which is really well written and everything. And it started 2 years ago when they decided. Have you heard about the Scientologist?
Yes.
It's like a cult. Yeah, Tom Cruise. Yeah, he's like this high, and he's like starring in really crappy movies, and he's crazy. So, but I mean, the Scientologists are a little bit different, and Anonymous, they came after them, but they had a really nice tone. If you go to YouTube and you look up a message to Scientology or something like that by Anonymous, you'll find it. I'll show you later if you have time. And also you can find mashups, and by mashup I mean like using a blog and Google Maps, or using tweets and Twitter messages and Google Maps. You mash two of those things together, and you get something really, really powerful. And of course, why we're talking about this is supposed to be some sort of inspiration for you, what you can do, and how you can spread the word, and how you can, use social media for your projects. In case that wasn't clear. This picture is a little bad, unfortunately, but this is a blog I used to read like daily a year ago until it stopped. It's called and he used to blog really, really often about, you know, his daily life, and it was horrible to read. You know, his friends and relatives, they died one by another, and he was robbed, and you know, his car got vandalized, and they came to his home, and I think finally he decided to leave Baghdad. And the ironic thing is that, you know, everyone told him to leave. He wanted to stay because, you know, it's his hometown. He couldn't just accept what was happening. But the things he told the rest of the world was things that no one else really, you know, cared about. I mean, CNN, they don't care about the little people. They care about, you know, the big things that happen. And this, you know, this gave us an ordinary citizen's life. And I don't think he understood it, but he was really powerful. He got tons of comments, and people really cared about him. And I've seen other blogs dedicated to him. You know, when he stopped blogging, people got really, really worried what happened. And the same goes for a young girl that lived in Baghdad. I think she was killed in a car bomb or something. She had a blog, and she used to write about, you know, her views on, you know, today school is closed again because they bombed it again. And eventually, unfortunately, she died in a car bomb. And it's interesting to see how we get emotionally attached to those people that we don't really know. We never even met them, but we read them like books, and we understand it's, you know, it's happening for real. But also, you know, blogs can be used by both sides, and this was posted today. It's the Israel Defense Force, and now we're talking about traditional propaganda. They started a Twitter account to tell their view on how good they are. I mean, yeah, and this I understand this.
And a Facebook group.
They have a Facebook group too.
It's a Facebook group.
Oh my god. I understand this is a bit provocative. I'm sorry, it's not meant as an offense. But this is a typical how even governments and defense forces start to use social media, because they understand that people get, this is how they get information today. And they can tell their view on
Their
it.
side.
Yeah, their side of the story. So early this morning, IDF soldiers helped a Palestinian woman give birth to a baby inside a military ambulance. And you know, probably the rest of the story might have been that
She was probably helped.
and it's like, well, if I read this and I'm like, oh, good for her. And then I think, and I'm like, well, she was probably, you know, on her way to a hospital and stopped by what do you call it?
Checkpoint.
The checkpoint, and held there for 5 hours. And then when she almost died, they said, oh, what the hell? For this one son. And someone go, oh, let's write about this, isn't it? Oh, yeah, fine. I'm sorry. But this is a typical way of doing a mashup, and this is excellent. And you will get the presentation later. So of course you can take notes and be polite. I appreciate it, but you will get the presentation with all the links. But this is a great mashup where they find all the Twitter messages with the slash what is it?
Hash.
Sorry, hash Egypt. And they find the geolocation data, and they attach it to a Google map. So if you zoom into this, you can see exactly where in Cairo people are sending Twitter messages. And it's quite interesting to see, because it's happening like this now that you've got the internet again. And it's fantastic because you can actually see how a message spreads, and then, you know, people start to move somewhere, and they send reports about how it is on, what do you call the square? Oh, the T-square. Have you seen this before?
Yeah.
I tried to translate parts of it just to make sure I didn't take the wrong side, but